Hey everybody, welcome to or back to my channel, MelCabeyVlogs. If you are new here, my name is Mel. I am an equity actor who lives here in New York City. I have worked regionally on a Broadway tour and on cruise ships, and I'm currently an auditioning actor, but my channel kind of encompasses everything when I'm working, when I'm not working. My channel is all about showing the true reality of what it is like to be an actor. So I'm gonna do a little sit-down video today. It's kind of a hodgepodge of topics, but a lot of you have been asking me questions, and I reached out to see what you guys wanted to hear more of. So I'm gonna be answering some main questions that are just giant topics that a lot of people want to know about with this career. First topic, which honestly, I could just do a whole video on this, but you all had so many other great questions and topics that I was like, I'm just gonna smush it into one and we're gonna do this. So this is what someone said. How to balance dance and theater training with practical adult life things. How to maintain your energy through the week, recovery tips to keep dancing physically and mentally, all of that. Which there's no simple answer to that, and I think that's something that a lot of people are trying to figure that out, because in this day and age as well, like, people aren't working as often as, say, actors were working in like the 90s, because this industry is so oversaturated. There are so many people and everybody is great. Everybody is so talented. So most of the time you have to balance having a day job or having something that is really sustaining you financially while auditioning or in between gigs, all of that, and kind of splitting your brain into two to be able to be like the actor version of yourself and then like the day job or like the job that sustains you version of yourself can be really hard. Also, side note, one of you asked about survival jobs, and I have talked about that in videos. So here is a survival job video that I will link that I have if you want to check it out. This is something I think I've honed in on in the past year, I would say, and really figuring this out. So for me, I let myself have kind of seasons through the year where I know in a specific chunk of time, I'll be like, okay, June to the end of August, I am in a more of a personal life focus state. So when I'm in that state, I will look at my planner of the week and I'll put in all the things I want to do personally, any work things if I'm going to work more during that time, scheduling in dates or meetups with friends, social things, whatever it may be. Then I will say, okay, now where can I fit in the theater things? And you fit it in. Vice versa, which this stage is kind of something I've been in for a while now, and I'm kind of pushing through the summer in this phase. But what I've been doing is I color code my planner. So here's like a little example of the beginning of this week, which wasn't very busy, which was nice. So pink is theater for me, and then blue is like other obligations that I have. So I always do, if I can, I put in all the stuff of theater related things that I want to be doing. So if it's auditions, classes I want to take, whatever it may be, then I go in and I schedule those other things to fit around it, to make it work, so that I'm prioritizing theater, or vice versa, so that I'm prioritizing whatever that thing is you need to be prioritizing during that time, like health things, like you're doing doctor visits or physical therapy or rehabbing an injury. Like, schedule whatever that focus is in first, then fill in the other things to make it work. That's kind of something I do, and I think it's been working really well. But ultimately, I think it's never healthy to be super hyper focused on one thing 24/7. So although I am constantly thinking about theater and making steps every day towards my career and doing things, blah, 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 I also have other passions and hobbies and things that I do throughout the day to kind of make me feel more sane. So like I'm really into reading, and that is a very simple task that I can do to kind of like make myself feel more normal, because like our career, it can feel very not normal a lot of times. And then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take that hobby of reading and I will bring it to a coffee shop. So then that way I'm like doing an activity, I'm going to a coffee shop and I'm sitting and reading, and I'm like around other people, I'm trying out a new spot in my neighborhood or going somewhere else in New York to try to see what it's like and sit and read my book there. Little things like that can kind of make you feel more grounded and like you're not so isolated in this like theater bubble. So I think that also just doing like little things like that throughout the week helped me to feel more balanced with like theater life and then like normal life. And then this one's a good one, the how to maintain energy throughout the week. Something for me is I just prioritize sleep so much, like where it's not even a question for me. Like if I'm making plans for something, I am calculating like, okay, well, will that give me enough time then for what I'm doing tomorrow to sleep and get what I need? Like I won't plan something with my friends if I have something early the next morning, or if I was like dancing like crazy all day long and I know I'm gonna want to go home and crash after, I'm not gonna plan something. So I'm very intentional about that, of like looking at my week and making sure I'm getting enough rest. And sometimes during like big audition seasons or certain phases of your life, sometimes that is not always very possible. You're gonna have times where you're tired, but then try to make up for it with a few extra days after a big rush. Get some sleep. I just like, I don't overextend myself if I don't have to be, and that's like a boundary I hold with myself and others, where I'm just not gonna do things if they're not necessary, because I know I need to prioritize the rest and recovery. And I'm constantly doing things like physical therapy and rolling out my muscles, or like taking hot showers and putting massage body oil on after, that like soaks into your muscles, helps them relax. I'm always incorporating things like that, and sometimes it can feel very like silly that you're doing so much for yourself, especially if you're not currently employed in a show. But you have to stay ready and you have to get those routines now, so when you are in a show you can carry that on over and you know how to take care of yourself. I also eat really well every day. In my 3 meals a day, I'm always focusing on having a plate that has carbs, protein, fat. Have everything I need, that way I'm constantly sustained. If, you know, I'm struggling one day and like I will pay the extra money to go get a good meal out, say like I'm running in between auditions or something, like I will always kind of put that at a high level of like, you need to get your meals every day. And same goes with snacks. I'm always having like high protein snacks, because we're always like using our muscles as dancers, recovering, like all of that. I'm just always hyper aware, and I think I'm kind of lucky in a way that I've been able to focus on that, because I'm a single person, I live alone, I have the time to just think like, what do I need, what can I do for myself? And now it's like I have the self-care aspect of like keeping myself good to keep going every week set in stone, so that anything else that comes in on top of it, I still have that to clutch onto. Like, okay, but I know every night before bed I listen to this meditation, and I will still do that no matter what is happening. Does that make sense? And yeah, any like specific recovery tips I have, I mean, I think like I said, eating well really helps. I did get a certification in nutrition in 2020, and that has just really helped me have the knowledge of how to create good balanced meals. But really the core of it again is carbs, protein, fat. Have that represented on your plate. For dancers, I think you should have the protein section be a bit larger, and that's really it. As long as you're seeing that in your meals and snacks, you're good. try to get electrolytes, especially in the summer in New York City because it gets so hot. So I use Buoy, B-U-O-Y, and it's like a flavorless, like you just squeeze it into your water and it gives you electrolytes. I have a code for that, so I'll put that in the link to get, I think it's 20% off. So that is something I always just throw Buoy in my bag every time I'm refilling my giant Owala water bottle, squeezing it in. And that helps your body kind of recover and all of that. It's crazy. It takes a lot of work to balance everything and take care of yourself, and there are definitely going to be times where you're going to feel like you're like, I'm not balancing any of this. I'm freaking out. I had that week 2 weeks ago. I was fully like, I am only focusing on this one thing I'm doing. I can't. And that is totally fine. And I think the mental aspect of that is like, be okay with that as well, and just know like this is temporary. Next week I can do more of this thing that I'm missing out on this week. Kind of balance it that way, like, but I'll balance it next week. You know, make yourself feel better about it because it's not the end of the world. Know that everything ebbs and flows. Somebody said end of audition season slump. That's a big one, and I think that's a big thing a lot of people have been talking about this year. This audition season, for kind of everyone that I'm like friends with on TikTok in the theater world, have been saying that this was one of the hardest audition seasons. It's just our industry is getting more and more competitive. There are more and more people. There are more and more hoops to jump through to get the jobs. There are less jobs. So a lot of people right now are feeling this slump of like, you just busted your butt from January until now for half of the year, auditioning, and either getting close to jobs or not getting close to jobs, and just you're left with, okay, I don't have anything. And you start to feel that like, oh, can I keep doing this? Should I keep doing this? All of those thoughts. What am I gonna do for the summer? What am I gonna do moving forward? It's this like horrible, dreadful feeling. And I'm trying to think of like how, because I'm gonna be so honest, and like maybe it's because this year as well I've been living in a very like delusional state with theater. I'm just like, I have my moments where I'm crying and I'm upset, but it's not as often as I used to have. And I think it's because I'm like, la-di-da, I have nothing to lose. I'm just gonna keep going and keep doing this, and it's gonna be fine. So like, I'm not fully feeling that slump. Like, yeah, I'm disappointed that I didn't book anything yet, but I also kind of expected it because I'm an equity member now. There are less jobs for equity. It's a whole thing. So I'm not surprised, if that makes sense. And I'm still proud of all of the work that I did this year. So I think the key is to focus on what you did well in the past 6 months or through the audition season. Give yourself the space to be proud of yourself and feel that pride and be like, look what I did. I did all of that. I dedicated my time and money and energy to this thing, and allow yourself to be proud of yourself. And then something else that helps me is I'm always creating action steps to move forward. It's something I blame my dad. My dad is like this, where like if something goes wrong or there's a lull or something, like we just pick right back up and say, okay, well, what do I need to do next? X, Y, Z, and do it. So create a plan for yourself. Like, maybe in the audition season you were like, in the dance calls, I wasn't picking up the choreography as quickly as I wanted to. So then your next action steps could be like, okay, for the summer, I'm gonna take 2 dance classes a week or whatever it may be. For me, I want to get more confident going back into rooms, singing and reading sides. So I'm taking workshop classes where you practice that. And I've signed up for, I just did one, I signed up for one next month, and I'm focusing on that and practicing. Just create an action plan. That will keep you motivated. It'll keep you on track. And then I think with that, also plan rests. So next week I am going, I think it's gonna be like 9 days total, going to my family's house in New Jersey, and I'm just gonna chill and rest and, you know, be with my family, be with my niece and nephew, have fun, relax at the beach, do fun things, give myself that much deserved rest because I've been busting my butt, and I'm gonna give myself a break. And now I will say I'm lucky because I do have a remote job, so I'm able to still kind of like get some hours in, make some money, because rent in New York is expensive. Most people can't just like leave for a week. So I will say I'm very lucky I'm able to do that. If you are able to do that, I highly recommend it. Try to schedule that within your summer so you're giving yourself that rest and relaxation. If you can't do that, try to put in chunks throughout your day in New York, or dedicate a week to, I'm not gonna do anything theater related. I'm fully, if I have to work, I'll work, and then I'm just gonna do fun things. Enjoy the free things in the city that you can explore. There's free museum nights for New Yorkers, there's all the parks, you can ride your bike around, like do fun New York things, and try to forget about theater for a week. And give yourself the R&R. I think that is how we get over the post-season audition slump. Be proud of yourself, give yourself rest and recovery, and create an action plan moving forward. My thoughts on networking. This is a good one. So, I always had such an icky feeling about networking in the way of like paying to network, which that is something that happens often with casting director classes. You are paying a chunk of money to meet and work with these casting directors, get feedback from them, get them to know you. I always was like, ugh, I hate that. And most recently I took a class with a casting director through Save My Audition, and I honestly am a huge fan of it now. And I'm gonna be honest and say I regret that I haven't been doing that for all of these years that I've been in New York. I felt icky about it, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But you know what? This industry is so insane. You gotta play the game. You gotta play the game. So I signed up for this class. Not only did I get to network with the casting director, now we have a relationship. We've emailed since about something specific that had to do with class that led to something else. But it also, I learned so much in that class. So you have to find the right classes that aren't just like, this is for you to get to know them. We were watching other students get coached. We did a bunch of material, and I learned so much about auditions in general, about how to approach scenes, acting, everything. I took away so much from that class. So I think it was so worth it, and I signed up for another one next month. And I think it's great because now I'm getting to know these people who I'm auditioning for on a personal level. They're knowing my personality, where in these audition rooms, they can't get to know you. And I think a big part of booking jobs these days are, they're like, oh, yes, I know her. She is so fun. She's a great worker. Love her. That's gonna help you get the call back, because again, everybody is so talented. So we need to figure out these other things to get us the callback, or get us in the room, or get us the job. And a lot of times that's showing yourself to these casting directors or creatives, choreographers, music directors, whoever. Get to know them. Another thing I've always kind of been good at is when I have made connections with choreographers, like in dance class or just through different things that are happening in the city, I always follow them on Instagram. If it's appropriate, I'll send a message, hey, it was so nice meeting you, or tagging them in a clip from their class if there was a video, and being like, thank you so much, I had such a great class. Like little things like that, so that you are sticking in their head. And I know it can feel so icky and weird, and a lot of my friends are like, I hate this, but you gotta do it. And there is like a line of being like weird and pushy and like messaging people or talking to people where it's not appropriate, but there's a right way to do it. So if you're ever unsure, just ask your friends, like, hey, should I send this message to this choreographer that I took their class and I really liked it. Should I not? Whatever. Ask other people's advice before you do it, but I've kind of gotten into a rhythm now where I know like where it's appropriate, where it's not. So don't be afraid of it. I think at this point it's only gonna help us, because again, this industry is insane and I don't even know what we're all doing at this point. Kind of related, oh my god, I feel like I have something in my freaking eyeball. Okay. Kind of related, somebody said how to build your network, like how I always say, ask your friends about XYZ, but you just moved here and you don't have friends. How do you do this? That's a great question as well, and I think my main answer is class. Class, class, class. Most of my New York City friends that I've met here that I didn't know prior, like from college or anything, dance class. BDC steps, especially if you take the same teacher every week, like you're a loyal this person class. If you get into those classes, then eventually you're going to create organic relationships with people in that class. So don't be afraid to talk to them before or after. One of my favorite things to do is after class, I will always go up to people who are standing out to me in the combos or something, and I'm like, hey, I just want you to know you kill that combo. You looked so great. Like, give them a compliment, make people feel good, then you're gonna connect, and eventually those people will become your friends. I have so many friends from doing that. If you're not a dancer, acting classes, anything. Auditions even. You're gonna see, like, I have a lot of audition friends that I keep seeing at auditions and we're always there together, and then I'll follow them on Instagram. Then we'll end up messaging, we'll reply to each other's stories, we become friends. And then you're like, hey, do you wanna get a drink after that dance call tomorrow? Stuff like that. Don't be afraid to do that. And I know it can feel weird in this day and age where like things don't happen as organically, but I think that's one good thing about our industry is we're in these very creative environments together where it kind of elicits that connection. So don't be afraid to lean into it and find your community that way. How to move through nerves for auditions. I am an anxious girl, and I will say I don't get super nervous for auditions anymore. And I think the main thing about that is practice. The more auditions you go to, way less nervous you're gonna be. When I'm gone on a contract for like 8 months and I come back, then I am so nervous for auditions because I'm out of practice. But the more you go, the better you're gonna be at it. Another thing I think that helps is to have a routine for yourself before the audition. So have a routine before you leave your house, maybe implementing some meditation. That really helps me. Or I'll put on YouTube like positive affirmations. I'll listen to that while I do my makeup. Ways to kind of ground yourself. If there's a specific type of music that kind of distracts you or like just makes you feel good, listen to that on the way to the audition. If being in the holding rooms with all those people really freaks you out, wait till you get your number. If you're equity, get your number, find a quiet spot out in the hallway somewhere and give yourself like 5-10 minutes of like you time, warm up and focus in, maybe listen to that music again. I think the key is find what works for you and stick to it as your routine before every audition, and then that way it's like a tangible thing that you're like, okay, this is my little audition routine, and it'll help you stay more grounded, and then the more you do it, the better it's gonna get. Okay, last question. Advice for someone first moving to New York. I think my biggest thing is to build your community, and do that by taking classes, getting to know people, networking as much as you can, reaching out to people that you met, thanking them, seeing as many shows as you can. Just immerse yourself in the world, and you never know where things will lead you by like knowing this person. You get invited to this thing, then you meet this person. That's what's so great about New York. There's just so much going on. So dive into that, and don't be scared to ask questions to either your new friends you make in a dance class at auditions, or you can always DM me on Instagram and ask me questions there. And yeah. Okay everyone, I'm exhausted from talking so much, so we're gonna end the video now. But please subscribe if you haven't. We gotta amp up the subscribers here, you guys. Send my stuff to people if you think that they would find it useful, and I will see you next time. Bye.